Aristocrats. I Think I'm Becoming a God by Keith Douglas, 1920 to 1944. The noble horse, with courage in his eye, clean in the bone, looks up at a shellburst. Away fly the images of the shires, but he puts the pipe back in his mouth. Peter was unfortunately killed by an 88. It took his leg away. He died in the ambulance. I saw him crawling on the sand. He said, "It's most unfair. They've shot my foot off." How can I live among this gentle, obsolescent breed of heroes and not weep? Unicorns almost, for they are fading into two legends in which their stupidity and chivalry are celebrated. Each fool and hero will be an immortal. These plains were their cricket pitch, and in the mountains the tremendous drop fences brought down some of the runners. Here then, under the stones and earth, they dispose themselves, I think, with their famous unconcern. It is not gunfire I hear, but a hunting horn. Okay, this is a poem by Keith Douglas. I think Douglas was born in Tunbridge Wells, and he went to Merton College, Oxford, to read history. He's famous for writing very emotionally detached poetry, and he's just observing things. He was a tank commander in North Africa in 1942-1943, and he was wounded, and then he was finally killed in the invasion of Normandy in 1944, aged 24, sadly. So what's this about? Aristocrats. I think I'm becoming a god. Well, I think this is talking about his attitude or his opinion of his commanders, of his superiors. During the war, he had two colonels who had been killed in action, and I think he pities them. I think he admires them, and I think he hates them as well. I think he's got very mixed feelings about them. I think he believes they're ineffectual. These senior officers, these commanding officers, are aristocrats, and they think they are gods. They think that they are completely untouchable in this scene of war, in this war. But it's not like that anymore. This is almost, he's accusing them of this Marie Antoinette attitude. Well, let them eat cake. These people are so superior, so much better than everyone else, so much that they are not part of a war. They're playing a game. This is playing cricket. This is for them, war is hunting the fox. This is a day's fox hunting, and they are complete amateurs. And they're completely untouched by the war. These aren't the people that are actually out there doing the killing. They're just giving orders in the game of war. The noble horse, with courage in his eye, clean in the bone, looks up at a shellburst. So here in the start we have the image of, I think, of a commanding officer on a horse, and there's a battle, and there's a shellburst, there's an explosion, and the noble horse is looking at the explosion. He looks up, and the horse is brave, and he is clean in the bone. He's well bred. This is an aristocratic stallion, and I'm not sure if this is the horse or if he's actually referring to the commanding officer. Away fly the images of the shires, but he puts his pipe back in his mouth. So the images of the shires, of living in the countryside, it has gone, and he's back here suddenly in the desert, and the commanding officer puts his pipe back in his mouth. So I have this image of this commanding officer sitting there on his horse, and there are explosions going round, and he's smoking his pipe, and the enemy are shelling them. Peter, commanding officer, was unfortunately killed by an 88. I think this is a mortar. It took his leg away. It blew his leg off, and he died in the ambulance. So this aristocrat, this person who thought he was immortal, he was killed by a shell. I saw him crawling on the sand. So I saw him on the sand. It's most unfair. They've shot my foot off. So he's saying, but this is unfair. This can't happen to me. They've shot my foot. My foot has gone, and clearly he's bleeding to death. And this is unfair. They can't do this to me. And this is the attitude of Peter, who I guess is one of the commanders. How can I live among this gentle, obsolescent breed of heroes and not weep? So it makes me cry to see this breed of heroes, these heroes, but from a time that no longer exists. These are knights in armour, these are knights of the Round Table, but this is not the world we're living in. This is not the war we are fighting, and these people they don't understand the real meaning of war. How can I live among them and not cry? I cry for them. So he pities them very, very greatly. Unicorns, almost. So these people are like unicorns. These are legendary creatures, for they are fading into two legends, in which their stupidity and chivalry are celebrated. So they're going to be famous for two things in the future: for their chivalry, for how brave they are, and how they are Arthurian knights from Arthurian legend, and how stupid they are, not living in the real world, not coming to the real world, sitting up there on a horse while they're shelling. This is ridiculous. Each fool and hero will be an immortal. So these will be immortal legends of British officers. These are like sportsmen. These plains were their cricket pitch, and in the mountains the tremendous drop fences brought down some of the runners. So this is a game to them. The plains, I think the plains of the desert, here they don't see a battlefield, they see a cricket pitch. And for them this is, they're playing cricket. And in the mountains, the tremendous drop fences. So a drop fence is a fence that you jump over on a horse, and the height that you jump from and where you land, there is a difference. It falls down a long way, and some of the runners, I'm not sure if this is a steeplechase or if they're fox hunting, but some of the I think this drop fence is probably in they're riding at a sporting event at a point to point, lock-in point to point, and it's a horse race. And the mountains where it comes down, this is just some of the contestants in the race falling, some of the jockeys falling, because they're playing cricket. They're playing cricket. This is a race, a horse race for them. Here, then, under the stones and earth, they dispose themselves, I think, with their famous unconcern. And now they're dead. And even afterlife, even in the afterlife, even buried under the stones, they are unconcerned. They're not dead. They continue to not be worried about the situation. They continue with this stiff upper lip, this immovable attitude that this is nothing serious at all. It is not gunfire I hear, but a hunting horn. So this whole battle, it's not a battle. They're out hunting. They're hunting the fox, and this whole thing is a game to these commanders. So, Aristocrats, I Think I'm Becoming a God, by Keith Douglas.